14 says stitch the front facing sections together at the center front, leaving open above the large circle. So it's the same thing that we did for the actual dress. So here they are. I'm going to fold this over. So now you're going to sew from this dot down to this notch here at the bottom. I just want to make sure that they're matched up. And make sure that this is matched. So it's just one stitch straight down here. And then while we're at it, we're just going to go ahead with piece number 7. This is going to be the back neck facing. Make sure you have your notch and your triangles. And then here's the front facing. And then the neck facing goes on the back. Like that. And so this notch gets matched up with this notch. And then this notch here gets matched up with this notch. So you're going to sew these two as well. Then you're going to press them flat. Press this open, press this flat. And then you're going to finish your edges, whether it's pinking shears, whether it's a zigzag stitch or serging. I'm going to go press. The end press is going to have the facing open, and on the inside, make sure you press this bottom part flat. You don't have to press this part because this inside part right here, so the inside of the facing is going to get attached to the dress. You just want to finish this outside part that goes around, all the way around here. Make sure, if you're serging, make sure you have this open. You're going to serge all the way around on the outside. So we just finished 14 and 15. Now we're going to 16, which is to pin the facing to the neck, matching the symbols and seams, stitch the neck edge, breaking stitch at large circle, and trim. Dress right sides up, facing. Just going to take it, lay it right here on the opening. So you're going to open up this area here. So where you have it closed, you're just going to match that together. We're just going to match this opening together. Going to match the seam just to keep it straight. And so this part is going to come up. You're going to turn it and pin it to the dress. Next time I make this, I'm going to see if I can attach this in a little different manner. So now we're just going to travel up the side of the V-neck. This seam goes on the shoulder. If you have a little jog in it like I do, you just want to trim that off. The seam matches. Put a pin in it. Up the other side, we're just going to fold this. Fold this other, we just want to try to get this flat and fold this out. And we're going to travel up the dress. At the shoulder seam, you want to match up the shoulder. And pin it. Match up the shoulder and pin it. Open up the zipper. And this, I'm going to open that just like that. So I'm going to pin the zipper. Oh, and if you, I did remove that that inner facing from the back of my dress. So this, we're going to stitch right down the sides of this zipper here. So you want all this to be secure. Same as with the other. Come all the way around. Get this open. We'll start here. I'm gonna come all the way to the end of the dress. And this gets stitched in the round here. Now we're going to go to this area here. I'm just gonna, there's a notch right here in the facing. I'm going to match the notch on the front. Now we're going to go to this area here, right here in the facing. I'm going to match, and then over here, notch on the facing and pin it. Some pins. So where did I open this up? If you're not getting things even, just take out, keep the pin, you know, you don't want to move the shoulder and the notches. Let those stay where they are, and you work around them. Stitch and trim. I don't have to do the basting. I am going to baste this facing in. Okay, so here is one side. I didn't do this part yet. So this is going to come around. Your zipper will be up. All this goes to the inside. Let me take this out. So this V-neck, you might not get very close to this, but what you can do, this can be closed up with needle and thread. See how that comes around just like that. Let me pause this and I'm gonna do the other side and then I'll show you what it looks like. So what happens is all of this is going to be turned to the inside. And it will live underneath. So I don't want to finger press this in at the moment, but this is how that front end gets finished. This will all come around just like that. So this will have to be clipped. If you need to, right here, and I probably will, some of this curve right here, probably going to clip this to open it. I'll know once I put it on if I need to do that. So now that that is there, we're going to go ahead, turn the facing, tack the seam. So there's no understitching here. So I'm not going to do it because it's top stitching. We'll see. So now we'll go to the machine and sew it. All right, so I'm starting, let me see, I want the facing, let me see which way I want to start. I'm going to start on the back right side. So here's the back right, here's the zipper part right here. I'm starting right under here. So I'm going to try to get close to this zipper. I don't want to sew the zipper. Okay. Taking my time, making sure everything is flat. There we go. Am I off? I am off. I'm off my mark. I'm just trying to figure out where I went off. Here we go. Looking at the wrong line. There we go. All right, so now I'm going down the front of the dress. So let me back up so you can kind of see how I'm holding my hands. Okay. So I'm making sure it stays flat. So I'm getting to the V, which is right here. I'm going to open this up. And I'm only going to go as far as I could comfortably go, which is right there. So that's how far. I didn't get all the way to here, just wasn't making it there, but I could do the rest of that by hand. So now I am going to start on the bottom and work myself up. So turning the dress upside down, I'm going to open this up, put a pin in here to keep this from turning on me. Here we go. All right, as far as I can comfortably put it right there. Go back a little bit. All right, that's as far as I'm going to be comfortable going. Turn it sideways. Okay, so I have the basting stitches out, and you can see how much is open here. And I don't know if my eyes are playing tricks on me or if I'm just seeing, looks like there's, oh, that must be from the chalk. Because I'm like, discoloration. So I'm folding everything in before I trim it, just to get an idea of the opening that's there. And then once this gets laid flat, and I think I must have scratched the fabric because I got some, that's going, I'm not going to like that in front like that. It looks like it's scratched the fabric. Maybe I can iron that out. Looks like the fibers were pulled. So I have, this is the opening that I have here. And at this point, I'm not going to worry about it because either I will catch it, either if I understitch it, I'll catch it then. And if I top stitch it, I'll catch it at that point. So now I'm going to open up before I trim anything, just checking my zipper, making sure that the zipper stop is visible. Just checking everything. Yep, that looks good in the back. It's lumpy now, but I'll trim all that. Okay. So then if you can trim your corners, clip in your seam allowance. All this can put your clips in, trim your seam allowance, trim this. So, trim is, which I didn't trim any of this on. I just folded it back to the inside. Yeah, I don't think I did, but I will trim off some of this right here on the shoulder because it's thick. So the next thing to do would be to tack the shoulders here. But here's my thing. I'm going to understitch some of it. I feel like I should understitch. I don't know if I want to. No, I'm going to top stitch it because it says top stitching. I'm going to top stitch it. Right? Should I top stitch or should I understitch? Okay. I'm a understitch. I might not be able to get everything, but my machine my machine off. Oh, I unplugged my machine. So I'm going to understitch it, but I'm not going to do it on camera because it's not part of the pattern. But what I want you to do is just to start here, and I want you to top stitch all the way down to the V, You're going to turn, you're going to come back and go all the way to the back. But I'm going to understitch it at a later time. But I wanted to move on to the armhole facings. So you have two pieces here. This one here, which has a longer straight edge, is the back. So you should have double notches. And then the shorter one, so it's a shorter long. So if you look at this one's long, this one's short. This short is a single notch is the front. So I'm going to take one of each. If I can open this. That's one front and one back. And they have the notches. The notches is where you connect them together. There we go. Oh, hold on. Am I not? Nope, not the right one. What is this? This is, here is the, got to put it on the right front. Here we go. So you got to make sure that you put them on the right pieces. That's why the notches are really important. Make sure you're matching up the notches. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stitch the notched end. And then you're going to stitch the opposite end. So you're going to press your seam open. You're going to get this nice and pressed, get it nice and flat. And there is the armhole, so you should have a single notch and a double notch. So I'm just going to go ahead and press these, and I'll be back. Okay. So my facing, I finished my edge. So it slides on like this. All right. This goes to the back. So it's going to be shaped like an armhole. So I'm pinning this to the top at the shoulder. And then we're going to go down to the first notch, pin it. I'm going to the back notch. And pin it. And then down here at the underarm, make sure I open up my seam. And this gets pinned together here. All right. So just think about the shape, hold the corners together, and this is the shape. Here's the shoulder, and it's the swoop of the armhole to the side of the bodice, like that. So I'm going to stitch that 5/8 of an inch all the way around. Gotta get my seams open. Back stitch. A little bit at a time. Making sure nothing gets stuck under there. keeping my edges together. So now I'm at the shoulder. Let me take this out and I'm going to put it back. I just want to check this. Yep, that's good. Everything's looking good. So I'm trying to keep everything flat. Take this pin out. Turn it some. I'm almost there. There. Back, back, back. You probably will. And so then you're going to give this a nice press. And this goes to the inside. So see how I'm turning in and see how everything is bunching up. Bunchy, 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 bunchy. And this is the bottom end. Long part goes at the top. Shoulder, arm, side. Holding it in my hand. Holding the dress. Here's the shoulder. Boop. Connecting. I'm going to pin at the shoulder. I'm going to open up the seam on the inside, open up the seam, take the seam of the facing. I'm going to pin those together. And we're going to go to the double notch in the back. Pin that. And then the single notch in the front. Pin that. And that is the opening. If you want to get the pins out the way, I am all for basting. This is regular thread, so I only want to use one layer. I already tied it in a knot. Oh, well. So you can also use your free arm to roll this around. Starting at the underarm, 5/8, 7-inch seam allowance. Back, 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 front. Still got to make sure you got to hold this, that's why the thread is very helpful with this, with keeping the edges even. See, when you baste it with thread just makes sewing a lot faster. And we're back at where we started. Still keeping everything straight. The sleeve is on both sides. There we go. There's one sleeve on this side, and then the other sleeve is on this side. To get these to go in, you're going to have to clip the curves. If I can properly clip. These scissors are really sharp. I'm trying not to get my finger. And so, especially the armhole curve. You don't want to cut through those stitches. And then when this goes in, you don't have that buckling anymore. So I'm just going to turn it in, and then I will feel where I need to do the clipping. All right, so right here. So this is going into the inside. All right. I'm just feeling everything feels good. Everything is laying smooth. All right, let's go back to the other side. So we know in the armhole, we definitely have to clip the underarm area and in the front where this single notch is. So I'm going to try to do a proper notch. Oh, because it's up in the air, instead of like laying on a table. All right, here's one. Don't count. Don't count. All right, so here's that armhole. Let's go ahead and tuck it in. Just want to get a nice smooth armhole. That side's good. There's some bulk. What's going on right here? So I'm going to cut the facing. Okay, let's take that back. All right, that feels much better. Now we're going to go around, tucking everything in. So now I'm up here. Now I'm up by the shoulder. There. Just checking the armhole. I think I need another one right here. Yeah, that feels better. All the way around. Yep, this still feels like there's a lot going on down here. All right, that feels much better. Okay. So you're going to give your seams a nice press around the armhole in the front facing, and then you're going to top stitch. I am going to understitch before I press it. So I'm going to start with a lot of fabric. I'm going to start with my seams open. Like, ouch! I need to open this up again. So understitching is where you're stitching this seam allowance to the facing. So I'm going to start at the underarm. I'll start. Oh, there's a lot here. I didn't feel this before. Okay. Stitching the armhole to the facing back. So I have to make sure that what's left of the facing. Oh, come on. There you go. I have to make sure that it's flat under there. I don't want the top stitching around my arms. There are times where I would actually do my understitching by hand. Depends on the fabric and depends on how much time I spent on the dress. All I'm doing is I'm making sure that the seam allowance is underneath the facing, meaning to the right, and I'm stitching them together. And then I will tack the facing to the seam allowance, and then I don't have to do the top, and then I won't do the top stitching. And now this goes, and see how easy that goes in there, and it'll just, when you're wearing it, it'll stay in there. That's why I like understitching. It's like that, and give it a nice press, and that will all stay on the inside. So I'll get some needle and thread, then I have to tack it. So this is the top shoulder, tack it to the seam. On the side seam on the inside, tacking it to the side seam. So that's one side, and I'm going to do the other side, and then I'll do the facing, and then I'll be back.